He left home one ordinary afternoon as an 18-year-old kid and came back almost 30 years later as a stranger to his own life. Not because he ran away, not because he disappeared, but because the justice system locked him away for a crime he always said he didn't commit, and only decades later admitted he could never have done. Think about that. All the moments that make a life, your 20s, your 30s, half your 40s, gone. Not from fate, not from tragedy, but from a single signature on a confession he begged them not to believe. 3 decades stolen. 3 decades, no court, no apology, no settlement can ever return. And the hardest part? This story didn't begin with him. In 1984, Park Forest, Illinois, was shaken by a tragedy. 15-year-old Christina Hickey left a school performance and never made it home. 2 days later, her body was found behind a shopping center. A brutal crime, a grieving community, and detectives under mounting pressure to find answers. Weeks passed, months passed, more than a year passed, and no suspect emerged. Then, suddenly, the investigation pivoted. Detectives brought in a quiet, academically struggling 18-year-old Christopher Abernathy. No physical evidence tied him to the scene, no DNA, no fingerprints, but an acquaintance said Christopher had said something months earlier. That single statement became enough to pull him into an interrogation room. What followed was more than 40 hours of questioning. 40 hours alone. Scared, exhausted, without a lawyer. When officers finally placed a typed confession in front of him, they told him he could go home if he signed. So he signed. Moments later, he tried to take it back. He said it wasn't true. But confessions, especially false ones, carry a weight that truth can't easily overcome. At his trial in 1987, the jury heard 2 things: the confession he recanted and the acquaintance's claim. They heard no forensic evidence, nothing scientific, nothing concrete. Still, Christopher was convicted of murder, sexual assault, and robbery. He was 17 at the time of the crime, too young for the death penalty, but not too young for the state to take the rest of his life. He was sentenced to life without parole, and that's when time began to disappear. His 20s vanished first. Birthdays became just dates on a commissary slip. His 30s faded next, one exhausted morning at a time. Then his 40s, years meant for building a life, were swallowed by concrete walls and steel doors. But someone never stopped showing up. His mother. Nearly 1,000 visits across 3 decades. Each visit a small act of resistance against a system that had already erased so much. The truth returned slowly, quietly, but it did return. Decades after the conviction, a group of journalism students re-examined the case. They uncovered inconsistencies, loose threads no one had ever pulled. Their findings reached attorneys, and eventually the Illinois Innocence Project took over. In 2014, DNA testing was ordered on 8 pieces of evidence. For the first time, science, not pressure, would speak. The results were clear. Christopher's DNA wasn't on any item, not one. Instead, a partial profile from someone else appeared. Incomplete, but enough to prove he wasn't the perpetrator. In February 2015, nearly 30 years after entering prison, Christopher walked free. The doors opened. His family embraced him. But freedom does not return youth. It does not return the years the system took. Later, various agencies settled claims, some substantial, some symbolic. But money only closes paperwork. It does not rebuild stolen decades. It cannot restore missed birthdays, relationships never formed, careers never begun. or dreams that never had a chance to exist. Because injustice doesn't only punish the innocent, it steals the one thing no court can restore: time. And that leaves us with a question we cannot ignore. If one young man lost 30 years before anyone checked the evidence, how many others are losing years right now? If you believe these stories matter, if you believe justice must be protected, stay with us. There are more truths to uncover, and more time we cannot afford to lose.